Welcome to Sports Talk with L-Beasley. And the 2012 NBA lottery just went down. We finally found out who gets those greedy lottery picks. You know, and this wasn't too big of a shock to me. I didn't pick the Hornets to get the first pick, but I'm not surprised that they got it. But like I just said, the New Orleans Hornets got the #1 pick in this year's draft. So basically what I'm about to do is I'm about to break it down and tell you who I think is going to go to these lottery teams, basically. I'm going to give you my little quick mock lottery picks, okay? Now, this is going off basically me just doing a quick analysis after watching the lottery, okay? So I didn't go through the rosters fully yet. I didn't go look at contracts and money. So, you know, excuse me on that. But once the dust settles, I'll come back and I'll do a real mock draft, okay? Okay, so let's get started. So, obviously, I don't see the New Orleans Hornets really going away from Anthony Davis. They do. I mean, they're crazier than I thought. Let me put it that way. Hornets are going to go with Anthony Davis. He's Anthony Davis. He can affect the game in so many different ways. It's ridiculous. They're going with Anthony Davis, okay? #2 goes to the Bobcats. Now, I can see the Bobcats doing two things here because they kind of need that good offensive wing or that multiple position type guy, or they kind of need that post guy too. So I can see the Bobcats going with the Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who, you know, I love, very versatile, scorer, can play multiple positions, can defend multiple positions. I like that pick. But at the same time, I can see them going with the Thomas Robinson if they feel like the post is a bigger need. Now let me say this. Wizards have the 3rd pick right after the Bobcats, and Wizards and Bobcats have similar needs, okay? So with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Thomas Robinson, I feel like whoever the Bobcats take, the Wizards are going to take the next best pick. So let's say Bobcats take Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I see the Wizards taking a Thomas Robinson. If the Bobcats take Thomas Robinson, I see the Wizards taking a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in this one, okay? So that's basically how I'm going. So that 2 and 3 is shifting between Thomas Robinson and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, just depending on what the Bobcats feel they need a little bit more. Okay, so our 4th pick, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and personally, I think they're going with Bradley Beal out of Florida. I like that pick. They have a good point guard in Kyrie Irving. They have a decent post game. I really think they just need that other scorer to kind of help Kyrie Irving out. Bradley Beal is a pure scorer, actually probably the underrated scorer in college and probably in the draft. So I think that would be a good pick for the Cavs. For the Kings, I kind of like Andre Drummond. I know he's kind of that iffy pick sometimes because it's like, well, he did okay at UConn. He left a little early. Well, not a little early. He left as a freshman. But, you know, I think Kings still need that legitimate big man. I know with DeMarcus Cousins up and down maturity level, sometimes they feel like they might trade him or let him go. So Andre Drummond would be a good pick for the Kings. Portland Trail Blazers have the 6th pick. I kind of like them getting maybe a Jared Sullinger possibly. You know, I think LaMarcus Aldridge is great, but we all know he's injury prone. It seems like every time we think, Portland thinks they can have him back, he seems like he's injured again. And even if he is there, this is still a nice added piece to the Portland Trail Blazers post game. You have good guards, you have decent wings. You can go with the Jared Sullinger. Golden State Warriors, I actually like a Harrison Barnes for this pick because you got your point guard Stephen Curry. You have decent big men, but, you know, you could maybe go in free agency and get that. But I like Harrison Barnes. He's a smart player. Mark Jackson likes smart players. That's one of the reasons he loves Stephen Curry so much. So I think Harrison Barnes would be a good fit. He can come in there, probably play right away. You know, he's going to learn from Stephen Curry, from David Lee, but I think he'll be a good pickup for the Golden State Warriors. The Raptors, they're kind of that just little iffy team. They do a little bit of everything, but I kind of like a Jeremy Lamb for them a little bit. And I'm not the biggest fan of Jeremy Lamb. Sometimes I feel like he's an inconsistent role player who happens to have big games, but he's proved me wrong plenty of times. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of more of a little up in my book. But Jeremy Lamb, I do like him for the Raptors. I think he brings that other score to them besides DeMar DeRozan, who at times is inconsistent. Detroit Pistons have the #9 pick, and I've heard a couple people say, well, I think Pistons should take Austin Rivers. Okay, the only problem I have with that is we have Brandon Knight. Stuckey plays better at the 2. We signed him to a big contract. I don't like bringing Austin Rivers into that type of situation. I just don't think it's good. What are we bringing him in there for? I don't think he's a better point guard than Brandon Knight. And if you're trying to play him at the 2, what was the point of signing Stuckey to that long-term deal? I kind of actually prefer the Pistons going to get a forward, and what I mean by forward is a power forward, or even that small forward who can be a power forward, but more of a power forward. I kind of like John Henson out of North Carolina for the Pistons. I just think he's a good fit. He's going to be great with Greg Monroe, who we saw is obviously building and expanding his game and doing well as an upcoming big man. So I think John Henson out of North Carolina, 6'11", 220 pounds. I think he's a good pick. He's a junior. He's not a young kid who doesn't know what he's doing. He's not inexperienced. He's been in North Carolina. He's went through the trials and tribulations. I think it's a good pick. The Hornets also get the 10th pick, and I like this pick as well because I think this is when the Hornets, you have to go after a point guard, okay? Because we all know that's after you traded Chris Paul, you didn't really have a point guard. And, you know, some people don't know who this kid is. His name is Damian Lillard. He's out of Weber State. He's about 6'2", 185 pounds. I like this guy. He's an underrated point guard. Does a little bit of everything. He's a junior. He's 21 years old. Once again, he's not a freshman. He's not a sophomore. He has the maturity. He has the experience level in college. I like this pick. It's a good underrated pick for the Hornets. 11. We have the Portland Trail Blazers, and I could kind of see them going maybe, and this is still a maybe, guys. I kind of like them going maybe with a Kendall Marshall a little bit. Now, don't kill me on that, okay? It's just a speculation, okay? I like Raymond Felton, but I feel like he has his up and down days to a point where it's like, I don't know if he's really the franchise leader, point guard for that. So I would like a Kendall Marshall, who I think is doing well. And if so, even if you don't start Kendall Marshall, he can learn from Raymond Felton and Jamal Crawford, which learn from Jamal Crawford as a young guard is one of the best things ever. Okay, so I do like that pick for them right now. The Bucks have the number 12 pick. This is an iffy pick for them too, but I think they should go get Perry Jones, the third out of Baylor, the power forward, 6'11", 220 pounds. I think he's even more iffy to me than Andre Drummond, just because he's the guy who had these great freshman numbers, but then sophomore year he went down. It was like we didn't know which Perry Jones we were going to get. But I think if you put him in the Bucks system, I think he'll do fine. You have the two good guards in Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. They gave away Andrew Bogut, or I say traded him away to Andrew Bogut to the Golden State Warriors. So you kind of have to feel that post boy, and I think Perry Jones would be a nice little fit to that. The 13th pick went to the Phoenix Suns, and quite frankly, this is the pick where I think Austin Rivers might end up going. This is the Phoenix Suns. They might lose Steve Nash. They're going to need somebody who can be a little bit of a creator and a scorer. I like that pick. I don't think Austin Rivers is a true point guard or anything, but I think he can learn to become one. But even if he doesn't, you can still feel comfortable having a backup point guard, or maybe going to get a point guard later in the draft and having a good scorer in Austin Rivers. I just like that pick for them. They're going to need a score. They're going to need something to cheer about in Phoenix after they lose Steve Nash. Let's just put it that way. And finally, the 14th pick of the lottery anyway, goes to the Houston Rockets. For the Houston Rockets, I actually like Tyler Zeller out of UNC. I think he's a good pick. He's 7 foot. He's that underrated, mechanical but finesse versatility. I like this guy. I think Houston could use this huge boost. I like that pick for Houston. Like I said, this is all just me going really right after the lottery, so do not hold me to this. I really want to analyze this more, and I may come back with totally different picks, but I kind of like the picks that I did. So don't worry, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the entire first round on another episode, so I know what you're thinking. Well, what about the rest of the teams? Who else? What do they need? I'm coming back, okay? Don't worry. This is just, once again, my quick 2012 NBA lottery picks. This is basically what I'm thinking is going to happen now that I've seen the actual lottery go down and I see who has the team. So, who has the picks, I'm sorry. So, this is what I think. Once again, I'll repeat it. Hornets, I think Anthony Davis. Bobcats, I think either a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or a Thomas Robinson. I think the Wizards will go with, once again, whoever the Bobcats don't take. So, either a Kidd-Gilchrist or a Robinson. I like Cleveland getting a Bradley Beal. Kings, Andre Drummond. Portland, Jared Sullinger. Warriors, Harrison Barnes. Raptors, Jeremy Lamb. Pistons, John Henson. Hornets, Damian Lillard. Blazers, Kendall Marshall. Bucks, Perry Jones. Suns, Austin Rivers. And finally, the Houston Rockets getting Tyler Zeller. I like those picks. Don't worry, I'm going to come back with more covering the draft. So thank you once again for tuning in with Sports Talk with L-Beasley. Once again, I want to hear your comments. I want you to email me, tweet me, message me, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Sports Talk with L-Beasley.